I'll call to order this meeting of the Health, Environment, and Community Engagement Committee. Councilmember Cam Gordon is my name, and I'm chair of the committee. And today I'm joined by council members Jacob Fry, Andrew Johnson, Elizabeth Glidden, and Alondra Cano. We're a quorum of the committee, so we can conduct our business. We only have one item before us today, and that is our report from our Community Environmental Advisory Commission. This is an annual presentation that we get once a year. And I don't know if you want to kick us off, Gail, or okay. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having us. My name is Anna Abrazizi. I'm the chair of the Community Environmental Advisory Commission. Here on my right is my vice chair for 2016, Andrew Murray. He will be advancing the slides as well as we can coordinate it. So today, we'll be giving you a little bit of background to familiarize yourself or remind yourselves of how SEAC came to be and what we're about. Go over some of the members' information and how we operate, and then do a little bit of a highlights reel for 2015 and what we're looking forward to doing in 2016 before finishing with some observations and overall thoughts. All right, so a little bit of background. SEAC was initially started in 1990, established as the City Council as the Minneapolis Environmental Commission. In 1994, it got its current acronym, but was called Citizens Environmental Advisory Committee. And in 2014, it was renamed Community Environmental Advisory Commission and kept its acronym to make things easy. We've historically worked on a lot of sustainability indicators, the climate action plan, air mercury reduction, green buildings, and green purchasing policies. Ultimately, we are the body that helps assist and advise both the council and city staff on environmental issues. We have 19 members, each are serving 2-year terms, and they're kind of composed of representatives from the following categories that are selected both by the mayor and city council. They each get 2 representatives from environmental advocacy groups, 2 who have demonstrated technical capacity in environmental issues, 2 resident members, and 2 representatives from industries and companies. There are additional 3 representatives from various interested parties: the Minneapolis School Board, Minneapolis Parks and Recreation Board, and Hennepin County. And ultimately, we are supported by staff in the Sustainability Office for the City of Minneapolis. So a quick overview of who our members are. From the advocacy groups, we have Dylan Bradford, Alan Campbell, Jenna Grove, and Jen Cater. They represent, in that same order, Community Power, Sierra Club, Clean Water Action, and Women's Environmental Institute. In the category of expertise, we have myself, Andrew Murray, Daryl Gerber, and Malia Hassenketch. From the residents, we have Ricardo McCurley, who is here to my right, and a relatively new member, Roxanne O'Brien, Alejandro Ojeda St. Martin, and 1 vacant position currently. From business, we have Lisa Daniels, James Nash, Brian Ross, and Michelle Stockness, who is our 2015 vice chair. From the Minneapolis School Board, we currently have a vacant spot. But for Hennepin County, we are represented by Tony Hainault, and Minneapolis Parks by Adam Arvidsson. Apologies to Adam. So, how we do our work is actually structured down to a subcommittee level. There are a number of different topics that we want to focus on, and we've subdivided into teams to really focus and dig into those issues. We have Overburdened Communities, which focuses on ensuring environmental justice for all citizens in Minneapolis. We have Climate Action Planning, which supports the city's climate action plan. We have Zero Waste, which looks at reducing waste throughout the city. Water, which focuses basically on all sorts of water issues, storm runoff, wastewater management, etc. And then 2 task forces, one that looks at the comprehensive plan, and one that's kind of an internal focus, looking at our own bylaws to make sure that we're running as effectively as possible going into the future. So with that, here are some highlights of what we've been doing in 2015. 2015 was a year of transition. SEAC brought on about half of our group is brand new for 2015. So a lot of this year was getting our feet under us. We had a new vice chair, which was Michelle Stockness for this year, and a new chair, which was myself. So even though we had that much change going on internally, we were able to make some pretty big accomplishments. For the listing here has kind of a more complete overview, but I'll go over some of the top highlights from each group. For climate action planning, we discussed developing a decision-making model for equity related to climate action. Overburdened communities gave feedback and recommendations to Councilmember Cam Gordon regarding draft green zone policies, and feedback to the city regarding the Xcel Energy's draft resource plan. The water group gave feedback to the city's draft water management plan. The zero waste group researched and wrote recommendations that largely became the bring your own bag ordinance. The comprehensive plan task force developed recommendations for process changes to make sure full stakeholder participation was a part of the planning, and that sustainability and resiliency was integrated into that plan. And then bylaws was initially formed, which is a win for us. In 2016, we have a lot of ambitious goals, a lot of things that we'd like to cover now that we have an idea of how this commission works and how we can be effective working with the city. Some of the highlights include, for climate action planning, really exploring opportunities with downtown transit management organizations for collaboration. For the comprehensive plan task force, really digging deeper into the community engagement process with the city, with the city's comp plan. For water, integrating stormwater BMPs into the complete streets policy, developing a framework for tying water to resiliency as preparation for the comp plan, and develop recommendations regarding cities' revisions to erosion controls. The overburdened communities subgroup would like to continue working on the green zones policy development and look more at how CIA can support sustainable economic development in the city. Zero waste is really excited to work on the bring your own bag ordinance and really work with the city council through implementation on that, as well as advising on the city's zero waste plan. In the bylaws, we hope to have completely revised to be more effective and efficient going forward into our future. So some overall thoughts. We've realized through our work in this year that we'd really like to see increased collaboration between SEAC and other boards and commissions. There are a lot of overlapping mandates in terms of our work and a lot of opportunities to leverage our combined interests to move things forward more effectively, including specifically the Energy Vision Advisory Committee and their work on the city's carbon reduction goals. We find a lot of alignment there in terms of our combined interest, as well as the Bike Committee, Food Council, and others. And ultimately, we are here to advise the city. As you may know, the best advice is that advice that is sought. That is advice that's going to be carried out. So we would really like to encourage you all, as well as city staff, to come to us with things for input, for feedback, for engagement. That is what we're here for, and we are here to serve you. So we really do encourage that. Come to our meetings, be engaged, or send us things that you'd like review. And that goes also for other local and regional governments. We're here to help. And with that, I'd like to thank you again for your time this afternoon. And I'll take any questions.
So I have one question about the recommendations. Maybe you can go back to that slide. No, that's a great photo. Great. The last slide of I think that's a great idea about collaborating between those other groups, but I was wondering if if you have any strategy for how you'd accomplish that, or is there any way that we can do that, or could do that more easily, or is there?
I think so far the ideas that have been generated, one of our commission members volunteered to follow the websites and the notes of other meetings to see if there's any kind of synergies that can be found. And then we would reach out through support of Gail and the Sustainability Office to make the proper connections. So it's kind of, at the moment, it's relationship building and connection making. That's not very robust, systemic way of joining, but it's a start.
No, that's still a great strategy. So essentially, there'll be a watcher for those agendas. Is it a different person assigned to each one, or does one person take them all on?
As of right now, we have had one volunteer, but
Okay.
certainly if she comes to us and says this is not sustainable, we would find a way around that.
Yeah, and I suppose there might be a proactive way to watch what's coming to your agenda and to remember to think about the health and transportation and food issues related to it. There's also, I think, might even be this evening, I think there's an orientation for boards and commissions and that kind of thing. So it's a networking opportunity. You may, Ricardo's not oriented, so maybe he's going.
You guys should go.
Because you're new. So that might be an opportunity too, because I've often thought about that. In fact, I still have this plan that we've discussed that our committee is going to try to gather representatives, or maybe invite everybody from the various boards and commissions that report to us, because the Public Health Advisory Committee does, and the Food Council does as well, that's on your list, and try to get them together and talk about the shared vision maybe for the year. And you reminded me, maybe it would make sense for us to try to do that in the first quarter of this year and have some kind of convening, so we could at least build a network and start to strategize around those issues. I'm also concerned about SEAC not getting connected well to the zero waste plan, so we have to make sure to do that. It's at this point, there is a steering committee that meets, but it's convened by the mayor's office, and we're working with the mayor's office, and we have the goal of actually drafting the plan this year, right?
I don't know what's going
Yeah, so, I believe that was what the goal is, and so and I'm seeing you have that committee. I think that's great, and we could probably get you to play a more critical role in that. Do other committee members have more questions or feedback? Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just say thank you all for your work and attention to details on all of these issues in our city and bringing forward ideas. And I really appreciate it. And I look forward to working together in 2016.
Maybe on that note, I'll also just express my gratitude for the help that you did with our green zones resolution and bringing that forward. Your feedback was critically important. And you're also going to be playing a role then as we get that work group going, and a continuing role, so we'll be counting on that. And also with the bring your own bag ordinance, we did take your recommendations, and that was in the first draft. Things are changing a little bit, and we're tweaking it along the way, and the public hearing for that's coming up on March 21st, and so hopefully you're going to see that really make a difference in our city. I appreciate
Thank you for the
help that
opportunity.
you did and the expertise in this. Yes, Councilmember Connell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is my microphone on? Okay. I just wanted to thank SEAC for being really involved in the Green Zones work. And I know that I saw Shalini Gupta here earlier. I don't know if she's still in here, but your support in figuring out how to move that forward was really important as a body, as the SEAC body. So I appreciate that engagement. And I know that folks are volunteers, and this is part of the work that they do out of the commitment to see us have a better city and close the racial equity gaps around health and the environment and pollution. So I'm excited to continue to work with SEAC on that front. And I know that we have an overdue meeting, and I'm looking forward to meeting with you on those issues as well. So thank you for that work. And thanks to the subcommittee. I didn't see the membership list there. I don't know if you can list off who's on that.
So we didn't have a list by subcommittee, but we can certainly send that information on to you.
Yeah, just to see who's there now, because I know that Shalini used to be on it and she's not on there anymore. And I think Eduardo Cardenas used to be on it, and I think he stepped off as well. So it'd be
The committee itself.
yeah, it'd be good to see where that's at now. So thank you.
Yep.
So that raises one last question. Are the subcommittees open to other people, or are these all SEAC committees only?
They are all open to other people. So we do have some other members who come in, particularly depending on the topic, if they're interested in, that can join for those conversations. They can also come to our SEAC meetings as well. Those are open to the public.
Okay, I think that's excellent to open up those work groups. So are the meeting dates of the work groups posted online on the city's website?
No, because they're not necessarily standard meeting times.
Okay.
They're kind of as needed basis, but we can work towards improving that communication and transparency.
All right, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Seeing no other comments, I will move to receive and file this report and presentation, and we can make the PowerPoint available online in the future. If folks want to see it there. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you so much for your report and your attendance. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.